who weren't with us yesterday, actually, we have a big group who's joined us for the first time today. So, the objective of the webinar is to demystify NIOS, to solve the mystery that is NIOS, to clear some of the myths or the misconceptions associated with NIOS. I am Jaspreet Kaur. I head Amrit Masonic School. It's a school cum rehab center for children with additional needs. We have students with both physical as well as intellectual challenges. Our expert for yesterday and today is Dr. Sandhya Kumar, with about 28 years of experience in the open school system, currently holding the position of Deputy Director Academics, NIOS. She's a doctorate in education and with a specialization in home science has developed a few of the current home science program courses running, including the vocational ones. Has long been associated with disability education, has designed many student learner support programs as well as training packages for various case stakeholders, uh, from different fields of disabilities. We are also being joined by Mawa Ghosh. She is a proactive and conscious parent from Calcutta, and she was the one who gave us the final nudge for the webinar, so deserves all the credit. Uh, Yesterday, Sandhya ma'am took us through a brief history of NIOS, then some of the rules and regulations of NIOS, and also their authorized associates. Um, so basically, if you see NIOS as a ladder, yes, they have a whole lot of beautiful, very well structured, very well researched um, methodologies. But as these rules and regulations come down the rung and they come down to the lowest rung, some sort of dilution happens. And the final execution of these very beautiful plans take a different shape. So the lower, that is basically what we're here to discuss. Ma'am told you what NIS has promised they'll do. I could tell you the ground reality of what actually is happening and how you can still go around it and get the best out of it. Uh, let's start with what is NIOS. No, not yet. So, what is NIOS? The definition that you'll get at different places. National Institute of Open Schooling. It's a national board set up by the Government of India that offer primary, secondary, senior. मेरे हिसाब से यहाँ जो दो सबसे important words हैं वो national और open schooling है. It's a national institute that offers open schooling. We all know about IGNOU and Netaji Subhash Chandra Open University. हम सबको पता है ओपन एजुकेशन क्या होती है, लेकिन हमें बीएड के लिए पता है, अंडर ग्रेजुएट कोर्सेज के लिए पता है, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट कोर्सेज के लिए पता है. सो नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ स्कूलिंग इज दे ऑफर डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन टू योर स्कूलिंग टिल 12th. अगर आप बीएड कर रहे हो ओपन से तो आप बोलोगे मैंने इग्नू से बीएड कर रही हूँ एंड आई हैव जॉइन्ड दिस सेंटर, which basically means that you will be getting the study material from IGNOU, but when you need to take your exams or your contact classes, you will be going to a center who will be helping you. That is all an A and AI is. There need not be all that confusion surrounding it. So children who are not being able to go through formal schooling, National Institute was set up actually to reach the unreachable. People who either could not reach the formal schooling or formal schooling could not reach them. So national schooling, NIOS, is meant to offer them an alternate for them to complete their secondary and senior secondary certification. CBSE is a national board. We're all familiar with it. They decide on curriculum. They offer classes till 12th. But the curriculum is executed at schools. Very similarly, NIOS has decided on curriculum for your primary, senior secondary, and vocational education. But the curriculum has to be transacted somewhere. That is all an AA and AI is. So the schedule for the day we are following today will be, I will be taking you through a short presentation. I'll try and keep it as short as possible. And then we will be addressing all our questions to ma'am. Initially, I will take up some of the questions that I've compiled like yesterday, but today we will be unmuting you one by one. And then hopefully The leftover grievances, leftover queries from yesterday will get sorted. Let me start my screen sharing and I'll start my presentation. That's it. Okay, so the webinar that we've been organized, the two-way webinar is Demystifying NIOS, and we are all associated here with Amrit Masonic School. We are based in Noida, which for the participants from other parts of India is a town close to Delhi. And incidentally, the head office and regional office of uh, NIOS also is based in Noida. That I think is a big piece of information that everybody needed to have. So this is how I plan on conducting this session. This is going to be my session flow. We'll start with who is eligible for NIOS. That seems to be a very, very common question. Why should children with special needs opt for NIOS, and how should they go about it? Okay, I could spend 2 hours giving an overview of who can do it. Can I see see myself? But I think I've taken a slightly different route. I'm going to take you through 7 case studies that should exemplify uh, who can do NIS, who will benefit from it. Okay, so this, by the way, all these are students who have, they are our actual students. I'm calling them A, B, C, D, and F, but all the information on each one of these slides is absolutely authentic. So the student A that we're taking right now, a beautiful young girl, 6 years old. She came to us at the age of 6 years, currently is older, had no prior remediation. She's from the lower economic background, came straight to us. When she came to us, she was an open notebook. Somebody is drawing on my slides. That's okay. The academic intervention that we did for her was we enrolled her in level A. Now, something that I'm going to be repeating again and again today is at our school, we see level A as an exercise in building of self-image. For us, level A, the third standard exam, is not about academics. So we enrolled her in A, but for the whole of that year, we kept doing the pre-learning skills with her. Now, pre-learning skills, I call them the magic potion. Pre-learning skills at her age would be the early intervention skills, the skills being taught in early intervention. I call them the magic pill. अगर आप प्री लर्निंग स्किल्स यूज कर लेते हो तो आपको कोई भी करिकुलम ट्रांजैक्ट करने में in the future classes problem nahi hoti. You have altered the slide quite a bit. So the pre-learning skills would be, see, if you enrolled her in level A, the EVS would have a lot of words like sight words, names of animals, color names, names of days. So one approach could have been, you start with the sight words. She knows the alphabet, so let's start with the sight words. The other approach could be, let's do the alphabet, the sound association, then we'll do the CVC words, we'll do the family of words, then we'll go on to simple sentences, then we'll take her on to one word answers, one sentence answers, and very, very small paragraphs. I was once told, ma'am, आप बहुत time waste करते हो ये करने में, pre-learning skills करने में. What I think is that if the pre-learning skills are done at the right age, in the right manner, they're actually not just the most effective, but also the fastest way of making a child literate. Because if you've done the pre-learning skills right, then in let's say about second and third standard, by the time the curriculum becomes a bit more tougher, learning of that curriculum becomes very, very easy. So student A, she did her level A in first year, completed level A in second year, and but along the way, we were continuing with all her pre-learning skills. and she is showing potential of being able to continue up to secondary and senior secondary. Okay, student B is a classic case of a student who actually brings tears to your eyes. Um, when he came to us, he was 9 years old. The IQ had been, he had gone to a psychologist, had an IQ of 60. With an IQ of 60, he had gone through 5 years of formal schooling. He had been going to a mainstream school. When he came to us, we'll need to take this off. When it, give me a second, please. When he came to us, he was a quiet, disciplined, attentive child with very good copying skills. He could copy anything and everything from the blackboard or from another notebook and copy it beautifully without comprehending anything, without even knowing what alphabets he was writing. I will need to see myself. But he had poor social skills. He had very poor comprehension, was scoring practically zero on all the exams, was being bullied at school, and felt like a misfit. He was going to the school every day. He was probably the most well-dressed uh, student of his class, would obey everything his teacher said, but did not understand a word of what was happening. Well, he had, despite the fact that he'd gone through 5 years of formal schooling, we still put him through one layer of pre-learning skills and enrolled him straight in level B. Now the question is, why would I put him in level B and not level A? Because the parents had come to us only because the school had finally said that we'll not let him continue in third standard another year. वो एक्चुअली हमारे पास आके हम पे एहसान कर रहे थे, तो उनका मैनरिज्म बदलना बहुत ज़रूरी था. इस बच्चे का बिहेवियर मॉडिफिकेशन करना उसकी प्राइमरी रिक्वायरमेंट थी. So for a whole year, yes, it was tough because a child who was copying so well, and every other day he would tell us, मैं तो सब कुछ लिख सकता हूँ. But we were still teaching him the CVC words, the sound letter associations. We were doing small words with him. But we'd make sure that he never went to the early intervention class. He was already pretty tall for his age when he came to us. So the primary remediation that he got the whole of the first year was behavior modification. We simply told him that you matter. In a simple line, we simply told him that you matter. Your skills don't matter. If you're able to copy, that is wonderful. But if you're not able to comprehend, that's also perfectly fine. We enrolled him in level B, but let him continue in level B for 2 years. He scored very poorly in level B, as was expected, because the impetus, the main goal had not been to let him for him to clear those 5 academic subjects. Then we enrolled in level C, where he has completed 4 subjects, because after 3 years of pre-writing skills, see, you have to understand, he'd been sitting in a formal school, he'd been listening to all the right words. उसने ABCD सब सुना था, उसने conjunction words सुने हुए थे, उसने सुना हुआ था noun क्या होता है, उसने सुना हुआ था adjective क्या होता है. Quite a lot of the dots were there. They were not joined. So we took 3 years to join his academic dots and basically have him lead in any or a whole lot of co-curricular activities in school. Our objectives was just to make him feel that he could do anything he wanted to, that he was not a misfit. So now next year he'll be appearing in the remaining 3 subjects. But for him, we are not going to, at least we have advised the parents not to go on to secondary and senior secondary. We have advised a vocational training for him after he has cleared level C. Okay. The next student is a severe case of autism spectrum disorder. For some reason, the general conception is that anybody who is severe on the spectrum should only be trainable, should not be educable. We all agree that with the children on the spectrum, their receptive knowledge is far more than their expressive knowledge. When this child came to us, he's from the upper economic group, had been getting all the required remedies with remediations with very diligently. Since 3 years of age, he'd been getting regular occupational therapy, speech therapy. Though keep in mind, not language therapy. He'd been getting speech therapy. So when he came to us, he was 12 years of age. He had already had some sort of sensory regulation. He was able to sit in one place. Quite a lot of his stimming was under control. He had received academic intervention, but never regular. discontinued off and on. We started him also on the pre-learning skills, but enrolled him in level A right there and then. Um, did pre-learning skills for almost a year. There's this pen you people saw me use every day. It's something I really like. So what this child would do, what I realized when he'd come to us, he'd basically come to us for occupational therapy. I realized one day that off and on when I'm doing some basic academic skills with him, the purpose of those skills was entirely different, wasn't academic. But when I was doing academic skills with him, and he wouldn't look down on the page, he wouldn't look at me. But if I clicked it like this, he somehow would look at whatever I was doing. I made this my tool, and over the next 1 year was able to um, get him to achieve a whole lot of the early intervention skills. The association worksheets, what goes with what, the matching worksheets, what is wrong, what is different. Uh, he was very good at maths. He is very good at maths. He picked up the number recognition. Of course, he never did rote learning. He could never, but number recognition, point to one. How many objects am I holding? Can you give me 5 objects? He was so good at them that we one day tried money concept with him. We were able to achieve recognition of all the Indian currencies within a week. And this was a child who had been deemed trainable and not educable. And then when we took him, see, enrolling him in level A was actually a shock for his parents. Enrolling children in level A is often a shock for it's something to keep them quiet for a year while we do our work. And they sort of let us be and not insist that why is a 12-year-old child being made to join capital A to small a, and why is he joining the toothbrush to the toothpaste. Uh, but when we took him for the exams a year later, this is one child that the process of exams, I've been advocating this for a number of years to parents, that the process of exam taking, you get up on time in the morning, you go to a different school, you have to go to a board where your name might be listed, or you have to somehow find where you're supposed to go. It's a new experience, it's a new layout. I have seen just the experience of exam taking bring miraculous results, miraculous changes in a whole lot of our students. Skills that we've been trying to achieve for a year somehow miraculously get learned. That one day when we tell them, "Aaj hum exam dene ja rahe hain," they go to a center where there's a room which is full of many other students who are sitting exactly the same way they're sitting, and who will be sitting there for the next 3 hours and will do something, if not take the exam. So he has completed 2 subjects of level A. Actually, there are 5 subjects in level A, but art and craft is not being counted here, and will appear for the remaining 3 the coming year. Again, we've advised vocational training because I really think, with the way he's been surprising us, maybe his surprise is there also. Okay. Case D, hearing impaired child. Well, now I can say mild cerebral palsy, but when he came to us at 10 years, we didn't know. Nobody knew he had cerebral palsy. From very, very poor economic background. At birth, within 5 months of age, he'd had cochlear implant in 1 year, had gone through the required auditory training, as special educators would know that is a very important addendum that has to be done with a CI. He had attended a local government school, and he had come to us only because his mother needed sponsoring of the hearing aid that was needed for the other year. The cochlear implant had been done in only 1 year. We found him of average intelligence, and we also realized that if he kept all the other factors constant, then his response to sounds was inconsistent. If the same amount of background noise was given, with the same topic was being taught, if his attention was not a factor, and then if we gave him sounds, his response was not consistent. That's when we took him to a neurologist, and we discovered he had mild cerebral palsy. This child did not have physiological hearing impairment in the other year at all. Uh, How we convinced his mother to stay on was we promised her that within a couple of years we'll transfer him to the mainstream section again. By the way, this is another parent swap that I use very often. I won't say a lie because in the back of my mind, that option is something that I hold on to for every student. But we managed to retain him. वो तो नॉर्मल स्कूल में जाता है, आपके खराब बच्चों के स्कूल में वो क्यों आएगा? But then with the SOP, she stayed on. We enrolled him in level B straight off, managed it with flying colors. He already had all the information. He was already 10 years old. Most of the curriculum of OBE level B he'd already cleared. Uh, then he went to level C at 12 years of age. There was a year, I think, in between before he could go to C, and then we transferred him back to a private school in mainstream. I think he'll be able to continue there very well. Okay, this is a classic student from a special school. She has two genetic syndromes, came to us when she was 12 years of age, had been getting special education, occupational therapy, and speech therapy since 3 months of age. Very proactive parent. She had good social skills, poor comprehension and writing skills. And the impetus for her coming to us was she was being transferred from the educable group to the functional group in her very expensive inclusive school. That is why our school was sought. We enrolled her straight in the level OB. The pre-learning skills were all in place. Processing was slow. She had poor self-image. Despite having good social skills, she had poor self-image. We involved her in the right kind of activities. She was 12 and already showing inclination towards a whole lot of kitchen work. She wanted to mother the younger kids. So the vocational training offered to her at school was she was made an assistant in the early intervention center. The children in that class started calling her ma'am. All the dots were there. Most of the dots were joined. But she definitely did not need to have been sent to the functional group. She did B, C in the same year each. She did them very well. She did the NIOS secondary level in 2.5 years, but that was more our fault. She was my first batch. I did not know enough about the NIOS system, and I made a lot of mistakes. So she took 2.5 years completing, but she's now enrolled in the senior secondary, is preparing for 3 subjects, which she'll be taking in the coming April. And I am absolutely certain she'll be able to complete the secondary course in just 2 attempts, which would amount to 1.5 years. We haven't exactly decided what we should enroll her in the future, but she's close to 18 already. And I have advised her parents to not go in for undergraduate courses. Because IQ is 75. The social quotient is low. She has good social skills, but the social quotient is low. So for her to be sent to a vocational course and then made employable would be a lot more sense. In fact, a couple of her students who we had trained similarly as teaching assistants in different sections of the school have already been employed, have already found employment in other special schools as teachers assistants. Please keep in mind, I said other special schools. They have become teaching assistants in other special schools. One of my favorite students, we made him the assistant in the OT division, and he learned so well. Of course, everything was broken down for him. He had files that he could refer to every time a new student came in. But he has been employed by another special school in Noida as an OT assistant, and the school is very, very happy with him. This last case is also, these kind of students will not come to us very often, but this is a typical case of a student who cannot access formal schooling. She is neurotypical, came to us when she was 19, her IQ is above average. She had an accident at the age of 17, which had left her paralyzed waist down with a lot of physiotherapy. She actually came to us only for physiotherapy. Because one of the common mistakes that most parents make, her parents were also making, मैम चला दें अभी, पढ़ाई बाद में कर लेंगे. This is something I hear a lot with cerebral palsy parents also. They'll come to us when the child is barely 3 years old, which makes me very happy, which means that the parents are proactive, which means that I can give the child early intervention. But the first thing they'll say to me is, मैम बैठा लेते हैं, सपोर्ट आ लेने दीजिए, पढ़ाई होती रहेगी. सपोर्ट या चलना और पढ़ाई दोनों साथ साथ में होने चाहिए. The two skills, they both are equally important skills. दोनों साथ साथ में इसलिए भी होने चाहिए कि दोनों इंपॉर्टेंट स्किल्स हैं, पर उससे बड़ी वजह ये है कि फिजियोथेरेपी करते समय अगर आप पढ़ाएंगे तो दोनों ऑप्टिमाइज हो जाएंगे. जब ये लड़की ट्रेडमिल पे चलती थी, उसको उसके हेल्प के साथ चलाया जाता था, वी वुड डू हर एजुकेशन देन. We had enrolled her straight in NIOS secondary. And I remember I would stand next to her and ask her Hindi questions while she'd be doing her treadmill. And even our OT expert was amazed at the way the OT as well as the academics, both of them got optimized. So if there are any parents out there, please do not make that mistake. Yes, the physical abilities are very important, but the physical exercises will actually get optimized if some amount of brainstorming, mental stimulation is done while the physical activities are being done. So, through these case studies, like I said earlier, I could have spent 2 hours telling you who all can benefit from the National Institute of Open Schooling. But I think through my case studies, I have been able to take you through all the diversities that we face in our school. So all of these will benefit. Every one of the cases that I've taken NIOS has been a life-changing experience for them. Now we go on to the why of NIOS. ठीक है, वो फॉर्मल स्कूलिंग नहीं एक्सेस कर पा रहे थे, वो हमारे पास आ गए, लेकिन NIOS को ज्वाइन करने की हमारी वजह क्या होनी चाहिए? As far as I'm concerned, the okay, this just give me a second, please. This is the only thing that should matter. This is why I take my students through NIOS. To tell them you matter, you have a right to exist. Our RPWD Act of 2017 is now rights-based. It's not pity-based. What I want my students to learn through the NIOS program is very simply that we can become contributing members of the society. When we grow up, our neighbors might approach us for help as we might approach them for help. This for me is the most important reason that I take students, I send them to the NIOS program. How do you build self-image? Whether it is students from inclusive school who's coming to us, whether the students have been in a special needs school, whether they are being homeschooled, NIOS will give them a regular student life experience. You will have 5 fixed subjects. You will have 5 books. You will have a bag that books. You have notebooks. You will have the relevant stationery. You will have holidays. It will afford you ongoing mental stimulation. One of the blocks that I think a whole lot of parents and special educators face post early intervention is which book to go on to next. Yes, we have IEPs. Yes, we have goals. But इसके बाद कौन सी किताब शुरू करें? What curriculum should we follow? We do have a curriculum. What learning material to pick up? Here is your learning material. In fact, the books, the exemplar books for OB level A that are there on the website, I would say all the educators, special educators out there, you don't have to look for any material. Please go look up the OB level A books, the exemplar books. आपको कुछ सेल्फ लर्निंग मटेरियल, कुछ आपको अपने आप से कुछ मटेरियल नहीं बनाना पड़ेगा. It is so comprehensive. So they provide you, you know the curriculum. Through the IPs, you have an idea of where you need to take the child. But here you get the learning materials also for ongoing mental stimulation. The entire material of of OB as well as secondary, senior secondary is very beautifully structured. It is sequential, and most importantly, it is finite. We have IEPs which have goals, but that goals need not be met, need not necessarily be met. We can carry over the goals to the next. Here you cannot. The teachers, the special educators, everybody has to account. It brings accountability to the education. It brings in social acceptability. Let me relate a small incident. One of my students once came and told me, OB level B, मैम कल मैं अपनी भाई के दोस्त की बर्थडे पार्टी पे गया था, मैंने सबको बताया मैं फिफ्थ कर रहा हूँ. Now, as we all know, because they are not able to process very well, they're not able to express what they're trying to say. So you often have to ask the right questions for be able to find out what it is that the child is trying to tell you. After asking all these leading questions, what I found out, what he really wanted to tell me was, yesterday for the first time, my brother's friends let me play with them. I think that says it all. It gives you a shot at secondary and senior secondary certification. The RPWD Act has given reservation for all special needs children of up to 5% in higher education institutes and up to 4% in government jobs. But you need to have some certification for that. पहले I used to say आप 10th 12th 3 साल पहले तक मैं कहती थी I had to fabricate reasons. I don't. Now the best sop I give parents for them to enroll their children to NIOS is certificate मिल जाएगा. It will bring employability. It will at least bring a chance of employability, which was not there earlier. This is my whys for NIOS, but I will still say my most important why is the positive self-image. Not going down. As all of you have already figured out, I think my tech is really, really, really poor. What COVID has taught me is that I need to go back to school. Okay. Next slide, in my opinion, very, very important. This actually, to an extent, will decide your success and the level of your success at the NIOS program. The choice of subjects. Open basic education, like you've all figured, 3rd, 5th and 8th. आप सिर्फ लैंग्वेज चूज कर सकते हैं, आपके पास चॉइस ऑफ सब्जेक्ट्स नहीं है. 3rd and 5th has 5 subjects and 8th has level C has 7 subjects. The curriculum has been decided by NIOS. Only the study material can vary because like we'll discuss in a few slides later, the study material is chosen by the accredited agency that you go to. So not much choice here. Secondary, senior secondary curriculum, language is again optional. You have choice of subjects. You have choice of academic. You have 3 categories here: language, academic and vocational. Senior secondary में आपको 5 subjects clear करने होते हैं certification लेने के लिए. आप 4+1 भी कर सकते हो. मतलब एक language तो आपको लेनी है, minimum 1 है, maximum 2 है. उसके बाद आपने या तो 4 academic subjects ले लिए, आपके 5 subject पूरे हो गए, और else the other option you have is आप एक language लीजिए, 3 academic subjects लीजिए और एक vocational subject लीजिए. तो आपको 5 subjects को clear करना है to get your certification. So we have a list of vocational subjects that are mapped to the 10th and the 12th curriculum. Study material is the same. There is no choice. The books are issued by the curriculum as well as the study material has been fixed and revised on a regular basis by NIOS. I have found the study material to be exemplary. That has been my experience. Now, the slide's title was how to choose the subjects. A very, very common question. Okay, so when you have decided that I'll be doing, I am going to enroll my child in 10th and 12th, there are some subjects that you would start considering on your own. There could be many factors. One of the most common factors is the family business. हमारे घर में ये होता है, हमारी दुकान है, we have a shop, so some manner of an accounting subject might help. The, so the chapters, the subjects that you're considering, there'll be various factors associated with them. But once you have made a list of the chapters that you of the subjects you're thinking about, the next step that you absolutely must do. See, all the books are available online. All the chapters are there. Please download a couple of chapters. I usually advise to download the first. Let's say English has 28 chapters in secondary. Download the first and the 13th one. It will give you an idea of the expansiveness of the curriculum. But it will also show you, see, I don't know any other board that has books. In the NIOS books, you, apart from the terminal questions at the end of the chapter, you also have in-text questions. After every small part, every chapter is divided into 2 or 3 parts, and after every part, you have in-text questions. You are assessed on your learning of that small portion of the subject. So download these books. एटलीस्ट आपको थोड़ा सा आइडिया हो जाएगा व्हाट यूर इन फॉर. अगर डर भी लगना है तो पूरा अच्छे से शुरू में ही डर लग जाएगा आपको. After having gone through these subjects, you'll get a fair idea of what you're in for. कुछ लोग जो बिजनेस स्टडीज ज्वाइन करते हैं उनको ये नहीं पता होता कि उसमें काफ़ी अमाउंट ऑफ अकाउंटिंग भी है, मैथ्स भी इन्वॉल्व है. जस्ट एन एग्जाम्पल. The curriculum that you choose for your child should be a balanced mix of theory and practical subjects. There are some subjects on both the levels, secondary and senior secondary, that are practical based. For example, if you've chosen data entry, आपको शुरू से ही पता होना चाहिए कि डेटा एंट्री के डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ मार्क्स 60 थ्योरी और 40 प्रैक्टिकल है. ये आपको डिस्कवरी एंड में जाके एग्जाम्स में नहीं होनी चाहिए. I'm sorry, I think I said it wrong. 60 practicals and 40 theory. Similarly, for painting, the practical is part is 70 marks and the theory is 30 marks. So you should, the curriculum for your child should be a balance of theory as well as practicals. I will discuss this in a little bit more detail in a few slides down. After this, please also download one question paper of every subject. By the time you've gone through a couple of chapters and a question paper, in my experience, in my opinion, you will have a very good idea of what you're letting yourself in for. You will be able to choose the subjects quite appropriately, because there is, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one calibration for appropriateness. Child's ability should decide the subjects, nothing else. More often than not, the choice of subjects is based on how what you want to say in society. उसके बड़े भाई ये पढ़ रहा है तो उसे ये पढ़ना चाहिए. जब हमारे रिलेटिव्स की गैदरिंग होगी तो हम ये बता पाएंगे ये सब्जेक्ट्स. I am not saying you're wrong. I'm a parent. I've done all of this. But I hope you will learn and realize that you're offering your child, आपने तो पहले कभी सोचा भी नहीं था वो 10th और 12th करेगा. Now that you've got this opportunity, you have found a program that will let him get 12 certified. Please use it judiciously. Don't let other factors cloud your judgment. Very, very brief overview of the admission process. So now we know who will come to the NIOS program and how they can benefit. Let's do the admission process. This is the first one is a link where you will go and sorry, I'm so sorry. This is the link. You go there, you will find a form, and this is a very beautiful flowchart prepared by NIOS that will take you step by step through the filling of the form, through the admission process. What I am going to tell you are the points that you don't find on the website. So these are the points to remember. You've downloaded the form, you start filling in, Right after you fill in the demographic data, demographic is child's name, mother's name, father's name, age. Right after that, you will be put through the 2 levels of security. आपके 2 OTPs आएंगे, उनको भरते ही आपको यूजर नेम और पासवर्ड जनरेट हो जाएगा. एक बहुत बड़ी गलती जो पेरेंट्स करते हैं वो ये है कि हमारा एडमिशन हो गया. जी नहीं, आपके लिए सिर्फ एक पेज जनरेट किया गया है, क्योंकि इस पॉइंट के बाद you will be facing a lot of fields which will need research. This probably was preempted by the NIOS administration. That is all I can think of. Very soon after this, you'll have to attach the Aadhaar form. You'll be needed to choose the subjects. You will be needed to upload your disability certificates. And suddenly parents at this point realize कि हमारे पास इनमें से कुछ भी नहीं है. So it does not mean that the work that you've done so far goes to waste. As soon as you get your username and password, a page has been generated for you, which you can keep going to again and again using your username and password. While this is happening, the message that will show every time you fill in your username and password, you will come to your page, you will have a dashboard. The message that will show will be this. As long as the message is submission pending, आपकी एडमिशन नहीं हुई है, आपका फॉर्म सबमिट नहीं हुआ है. The day you pay your fees, date of payment of fees will be considered as a date of admission. जिस दिन आप फीस पे करेंगे, ऑब्वियसली उसी समय आप फॉर्म को भी सबमिट कर देंगे, दोनों एक साथ जाते हैं. That is the day your admission process has begun. You have got admission. At which point the message will change to document verification. आपके फीस की पेमेंट करने के बाद 2 या 3 हफ्ते के अंदर अंदर आपने जो भी डॉक्यूमेंट्स अपलोड किए हैं वेरीफाई किए जाएंगे. If they are all found to be okay, then you will be issued an enrollment number, which basically means that जिस तरह आप एक CBSE के स्कूल में जाके अपने बच्चे का नाम लिखवाते हैं, एडमिशन हो जाती है, जिस दिन आपको एनरोलमेंट नंबर आएगा उस दिन आपकी NIOS बोर्ड में एडमिशन हो गई. उसके बाद आपको बाकी की चीज़ें देखनी है. लेकिन डॉक्यूमेंट वेरिफिकेशन might take a little time because you are also filling up the form for the first time. Some of the messages some of the mistakes that parents make really are not in their hands. During this process, the verification process, you will be regularly getting, if there is a problem, you will be intimated through your email or SMS. So please be alert for the next through 2-3 weeks. And once the documents are verified, whatever corrections are expected of you, please go and keep doing them. But once you've uploaded your fees, you are admitted. After that, you'll either get your enrollment number if your documents are in order. If they're not in order, they'll ask you to correct. But your admission is done. And once the enrollment number comes, that's your roll number. That's a roll number like you have in a regular school. You are admitted beyond that point. Going down. My apologies. Okay. आपकी एडमिशन हो गई, आपका स्कूल में दाखिला हो गया. अब आप नेक्स्ट क्या करोगे? CBSE के स्कूल में तो आपका स्कूल में एडमिशन होता है. यहाँ पे अब आपका, सिंस आप डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन कर रहे हो, जब आपने फॉर्म भरा है उसमें आपको 3 ऑप्शंस मिलती हैं, जिसमें आपको इनफैक्ट 3 चॉइसेस ऑफ स्टडी सेंटर्स भरना पड़ता है. जब तक आप वो नहीं भरते हो, आपका फॉर्म एक्नॉलेज नहीं होता है. आई होप आई एम आंसरिंग अ होल लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. Is it important to join an accredited agency or an accredited institute? Yes, it is critical. अगर आप B.Ed कर रहे हो डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन से, कहीं तो जाओगे ना कंटैक्ट क्लासेस के लिए. तो अगर आप ओपन स्कूलिंग कर रहे हो तो भी तो कहीं जाओगे कंटैक्ट क्लासेस के लिए, एग्जाम देने के लिए. सो दिस इज अ मैंडेटरी फील्ड विदाउट विच योर एडमिशन विल नॉट गेट क्लियर. अब आपने चूज कर लिया, आप accredited एजेंसी के पास पहुंच गए. In the next slide, actually, we'll also discuss how you choose. Through this link, you will get a list of the accredited agencies. आपको ये सारी information आप input करोगे. कैटेगरी का मतलब होता है what level of OB, उसके बाद country, state, district, stream. Stream OBE की 5 ही होती है. After you put in all the information, you will get a list of accredited agencies. Just give me a second. I'd like to go to the next one first. How to choose. Okay, let's do this slide first, then I'll take you there. In the next slide, I'll give you some pointers on how to choose the accredited agency. Now, what are the responsibilities that NIOS has entrusted to the accredited agency? करिकुलम तो NIOS ने डिसाइड किया हुआ है, उनकी साइट पे है. लेवल ए पे आपकी प्रोफिशिएंसी फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड क्लास के लिए होनी चाहिए. लेवल बी पे आपकी प्रोफिशिएंसी फोर्थ फिफ्थ और सिक्स क्लास के लिए होनी चाहिए, सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ. लेकिन स्टडी मटेरियल ए खुद चूज करता है. For example, we have an A in a locality who for level C use, that is the 8th standard, which is equivalent to the 8th standard, use all NCRT books of 8th grade. The A that we have chosen, they use a mix. 6th, 7th and 8th. I think maths is of level 6, of grade 6, grade 6 NCRT. Hindi is level 8, English is level 7. So they have a mix of books. Choice of study material is up to the A. They choose. They know the curriculum that has to be transacted, but how and through what means it will be transacted is up to the A. Your center, your accredited agency will be conducting the formative and summative assessment. Formative is unit tests and summative is the final exams. I am sure we all knew that. Formative is unit tests and summative is final exams. They will also be evaluating the exams. आप एग्ज़ाम भी वहाँ देंगे और आपकी एग्ज़ाम शीट्स, आंसर शीट्स भी इवेलुएट आपका स्टडी सेंटर ही करेगा. अभी तक NIOS का यहाँ पे रोल नहीं आया है. वो आपका रिजल्ट बनाएंगे और उसको डिक्लेयर भी करेंगे. यूजुअली A's will declare the results within a month. And since we have the grading system now, all you will get is the grades. Marks are not revealed, obviously. The A will then send your award list to the NIOS regional center, who will be sending the certificates. इसीलिए जब आप A में enroll करते हो तो जो आप फीस पे करते हो उसमें से छोटा अमाउंट 300 for level A, 500 for level B and 800 for level C is sent to the NIOS regional center. We discussed this yesterday where somebody had asked that बहुत वक्त से सर्टिफिकेट्स इशू नहीं हुए और मैम ने आपको क्लैरिफाई किया था हो सकता है आपके ए ने ये जो नॉमिनल अमाउंट है वो वहाँ अभी नहीं भेजा. Why I said nominal is because in my experience, the amount charged by A's way exceeds this amount that they have to pay the NIOS regional center. But to an extent, it is expected. Aapko, the OB will be spending some time on you. Of course, you're not getting any contact classes and all, but as I'll discuss in another slide, the OB will invest some time and resources in you. So a little bit extra, but yes, not too much extra. Like we discussed yesterday, it's become very murky. Some centers have started charging excessively. Please be aware of your rights. Now that you know that the AAS only needs to send this 300, 500, and 800 to the NIOS center, you can question. And finally, when the result certificates come, they will be dispersed by the AA. बट सर्टिफिकेट्स NIOS के होंगे, उस पर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का स्टैंप लगा होगा. काम AA ने किया है लेकिन सर्टिफिकेट्स वहाँ से आते हैं. और बिकॉज काम AA करता है इसलिए उनकी बहुत ज़्यादा अकाउंटेबिलिटी भी नहीं है NIOS के साथ. NIOS एक्चुअली कांट होल्ड अकाउंटेबल फॉर मच. Now I think this is where I can really bring in my expertise. How to interact with the AA. First, how would you choose the AA? Because hopefully when you go through the list, you will get a choice of at least 2 to 3 accredited agencies in your locality within a radius of, let's say, 5 to 10 kilometers. Please visit all the AAs. Critical, absolutely important, because your child is going to be spending a good part of the next 2 years. You're going to be spending a good part of the next 2 years dealing with them. like we've had, there've been some discussions in the group where a couple of A's have been the grievance against them is that the staff does not deal with the children appropriately. Very true, will happen at some places. So please go through all the A's and look for one that is more empathetic towards your child. And like I said earlier, I always advise going for an A that has an easier curriculum, because level A and level B, yes, yes, it is about academics. Yes, these levels are academically oriented, but a very big yes, they are also towards building of self-image. So at these two levels, we want the child to come back into the mainstream. We are actually rehabilitating a marginalized child back into the education system, back into the society. So an easier curriculum might help at this point. Periodic visits, very, very important. What we do is, in the beginning months, we visit our AA once a month, which increases to twice a month, close to December. And just before the exams, we actually go there thrice a month. So what I would suggest to all the parents listening to me, at the very early on, when the session has just started, please make a parent group. Please find some more people from your locality who have chosen the same AA. Draft a letter, which is demanding but polite, which tells the A that you know your rules, but also tells them, हम अपने गुरु के सामने शीश झुका के जाते हैं ना, तो ये भी तो हमारे बच्चे के गुरु हैं, तो लड़ना ज़रूरी नहीं है, especially in a place where we're trying to get them to give us provisions. We can do it politely, but the AA needs to know that these people know what they can expect from us. Draft a letter which probably will have all the points that I'm going to be talking here. So at the very beginning, tell them, because चूंकि study material आपने choose किया है, we would like to follow your lesson plans. The second point is follow the lesson plans. I think at one point, a couple of days ago in the group, I said that for a level A and B student classes, we teach them functionally throughout the year. And only in January, when the exams are in actually mid-Feb or end-Feb, only in January that we actually start doing the curriculum of A and B. Everybody had taken offense to that. I was not saying that we start teaching the curriculum in January. All I was saying was that throughout the year, we keep teaching that curriculum, but in a functional manner. I'll give you an example. Fifth standard, the RA for the level B, OB, follows the fourth standard English book. So first chapter, Neha's clock. आप इंग्लिश की वैसे ही उसको क्लासेस ले रहे हैं, फंक्शनल क्लासेस ले रहे हैं, उसमें आप वैसे ही उसे CBC वर्ड्स कर रहे हैं, आप फैमिली ऑफ वर्ड्स कर रहे हैं. तो अगर आपके लेसन प्लान्स इन प्लेस हैं, इफ यू ऑलरेडी मेड लेसन प्लान्स फॉर द NCERT fourth English book, then you'll already have a list of words that you would need the child to learn. Even if you're aiming for the child to be giving one word answers, you will have a list, you should have a list of words for every English chapter that you're going to be covering. So while you're teaching the word families, why not incorporate those words? At the very beginning, in fact, most of our students don't buy the books at all. We actually have one set of books, which is in the school, and the parents do have their sets of books, but the children don't bring them on a regular basis to school, because we will be summarizing all chapters. It's especially a child. He will have to learn through strategies. He's not going to be reading the whole chapter, writing lengthy answers. At least he should not be. So if you've already decided on the strategies that you're going to be implementing in January, those strategies can be implemented from the very beginning. But I would still say that why आप functional curriculum तो कर ही रहे हैं उसका, आप उसको English generally तो सिखा ही रहे हैं. For this particular for the particular study material that the AA has chosen, वहाँ पे extra कराने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. If the AA is doing only 2 questions from Neha's alarm clock, that chapter, why should you be doing all of them? So what I mean by follow the lesson plans is, Teach, at least from the study material, at least from the book that the A is using, teach only as much as the A is teaching. Because eventually the teachers are going to be setting the question papers only from the amount that they've taught. So follow the lesson plans. Let's come back to the letter that I want you to draft in a minute. Let's follow these points first. Acclimatize your students. Critical, very, very important, especially for students on the autism spectrum. We know that the one thing that you absolutely cannot do with somebody on the spectrum is surprises. अगर आप बोल रहे हो कि आपने ये चूज कर लिया और आप अपने बच्चे को या अपने स्टूडेंट को जो स्पेक्ट्रम पे है सीधा एग्जाम दिलाने ले गए, फिर तो अगर वो बच्चा टैंट्रम्स थ्रो कर रहा है उसकी तो कोई गलती है ही नहीं है. So for especially for students with ASD, what we do is we go to the A, we take actual photographs of the premises, of the classrooms where the child is going to be sitting in, of the toilets, of the play area, of the teachers. We create a social story. The child starts learning through the social story. And a couple of months after that, with the social story in hand, we take the student to the A, where he maps all the places, all the actual places with the pictures he has in the social story. He's prepared for what's going to happen. We repeat the process every 2 or 3 months. Basically, every of our students on the spectrum will visit the AA at least 2 to 3 times, at least. And the last visit, we keep it very close to the exams. Even for other students who are not on ASD, they go to the school. This is one of the points that we put into the letter that we give the authorities in the very beginning. या तो हमारे बच्चों को आके आप क्लासेस ले लेने दीजिए 2 या 3 साल में, ज़्यादा नहीं. या फिर अगर आपका कोई इवेंट हो रहा हो, बच्चे पिकनिक पे जा रहे हो, तो वहाँ हमारे बच्चों को उस क्लास के साथ आने दीजिए. We need the children to form a, we would want them, the students, to
It's
form a rapport
3 o'clock.
with the teachers and also with the fellow students. Because the day they come to take the exams, more often than not, in all probability, it will be these teachers who will be the invigilators in that class. If the teacher has met the student earlier, knows his name, has interacted with him for even a few minutes, she will be more empathetic towards him when he goes in for the exams. He will not be a stranger for the teacher. The other students in the class will not be a stranger for the teacher. So acclimatize your students whatever way you can. What we often do is that if an A is completely unresponsive, we are not being able to bend them to our requirements at all, we suggest just 2 classes. We do this for the students on ASD also, on the spectrum also. The first time, for the first class visit, the parent sits with the student at the back of the class for just one class. And for the second visit, again through social stories, we prepare the child for that class. The parent stays out, and this child goes and attends the student on the ASD on the spectrum will go and attend the class with the rest of the students of the AA. We acclimatize the students. The AA is not a new place for them. It's a place that they like going to. We've created a very positive image of the place. It's a place that they like, that they want to go to. This, of course, we've taught them this, and that is going to be very good for their future. Take some formative assessments. Now, I have known of some AAs that will not give you their formative assessment question papers. So what we did there was we told them that once you're done with it, the excuse was very simply कि अगर हम आपको question paper दे देंगे, I'm sorry, I've dragged on for too long. I think I'm going to hurry up a bit more. क्वेश्चन पेपर दे देंगे तो आप हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को बता सकते हो. सो व्हाट वी डू देयर इज वी टेल देम कि जब आपके रिजल्ट्स डिक्लेयर हो जाए यूनिट टेस्ट के, अब तक हमें क्वेश्चन पेपर्स दे दीजिए. सी, एक्चुअली इट इज अ राइट. They should be giving us the formative unit test. But like I keep saying again and again, you need not fight. A way can be found around any obstacle. And every no can be turned into a yes with patience. Ask your AA for previous question papers and the blueprint. Again, we've often seen AAs giving us, there's a lot of resistance regarding this point also. लेकिन अगर आप persist करें तो मिल जाता है. अब जो मैं आपको लेटर की बात कर रही थी, अगर आप शुरू में ही, if some parents get together and for draft a letter which has all these points at the very beginning. At the very beginning, if you tell the principal of this A or the coordinator of this A that at some point during the year, would you please share one of your previous question papers with us? I think the chances of them agreeing to you would increase multifold. So plan. Don't expect the A. हमने admission करा दी, काम खत्म हो गया, अब हम घर पे पढ़ा लेंगे. जी नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता. You have to interact with the A throughout the years. So please plan and do it properly. Now, A, as we know, was the accredited agency that you will be using for your third, fifth, and eighth exams. Now, let's go on to the accredited institution. Again, here we've given you a list of the through the same link. Actually, you will get a list of the AIs also. Like ma'am had explained yesterday, there are different factors for giving accreditation. So usually you will have an institution that is either an A or an AI, but at times you might also find an institution that has accreditation for both the primary as well as the secondary and senior secondary accreditation. I'm going to go to the next slide quickly. How to choose an AA, and I'll go back to what the responsibilities are later. एक बहुत डिफरेंट ए और ए आई के बीच में एक बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस ये होगा कि अब सेकेंडरी और सीनियर सेकेंडरी लेवल पे आपके सब्जेक्ट्स फिक्स्ड हैं, करिकुलम भी फिक्स्ड है, सब्जेक्ट्स भी और स्टडी मटेरियल भी फिक्स्ड है. सब्जेक्ट्स का चॉइस है, लेकिन सब्जेक्ट्स का चॉइस NIOS दे रहा है. सो any institution that has been accredited as an AI is supposed to offer all subjects, but it might not happen that way. A lady in the group, the WhatsApp group, had sent a screenshot saying which says that the A that she wants to choose under the science stream, it says no. So one of the factors for an institution getting an accreditation for AI would be whether they have labs or not at the secondary level. So if they do not have labs, it's possible that they might be given only the arts stream, arts and the commerce stream. They might not be allowed to take on the science stream, and they might not offer it to you. So again, get a list. Hopefully, you will have 2 or 3 AIs in your locality. Visit them. Visit them again if need be. But at this stage, a compromise might have to be reached between logistics and the subjects you want to pursue. If an AI is close to you, is offering a lot other benefits, has a pathetic staff, but does not have the subject you want, I don't know. Depends on the parents, but I often advise at this point a compromise can be reached. Same thing again, acclimatize the students. Now, since the responsibilities of AI are slightly different from the responsibilities of AA. आपने यहाँ एडमिशन लिया है, आपने जब एडमिशन फॉर्म भरा तो आपने AI चूज कर लिया अपना, आपका एडमिशन वैलिड है, आपको एनरोलमेंट नंबर आ गया. कुछ वक्त के बाद NIOS आपको बुक्स का सेट भी भेज देगा. AI से आपको स्टडी मटेरियल की या लेसन प्लान्स की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है, because everything is coming from the NIOS. So regular visits, going to them is not needed at all. But yes, their responsibilities include the PCP classes, personal contact programs. Now the next 2 lines, I hope you underline. I'm not getting it. Have I got it? Yes. These 2 lines are extremely important. For some reason, parents don't know, and the coordinator at your AI will not tell you. They are supposed to offer you 30 hours per theory subject. Now, AI के साथ NIOS की accountability है, because in this case, for every student that they enroll, NIOS regional center pays them money for the PCP classes. So there is an amount of accountability, like we discussed yesterday. If your center is not giving you the 30 hours per subject theory PCPs and 5 hours for every practical subject, PCP, 5 hours of PCP for every practical subject, please go and report your grievance to the regional center. Now, this I would really like to emphasize the 5 hours here. मैं आपको एक state secret बता रही हूँ इस समय. I really don't know why this is a state secret because we also sort of stumbled on it. Every coordinator of an AI is sent guidelines. Every one of them knows. अगर आपने एक प्रैक्टिकल सब्जेक्ट चूज किया है, लेट्स से आपने एक सब्जेक्ट चूज किया है जिसका 30 मार्क्स का प्रैक्टिकल है, उसके जो 5 आवर्स का पीसीपी आपको मिलता है वो एक्चुअली फॉर्मेटिव असेसमेंट होता है. दैट अकाउंट्स फॉर 50% of the final marks that are going to be allotted to you. So if your practical is for 30 marks, just by attending those 5 PCPs, you score 15. You've passed the practical. Out of 30, you already got the practical, pass marks. Even if your child has some sort of a meltdown on the day of the practical, he gets a list of practicals that makes him uncomfortable. He comes out because practical mein scribe allowed nahi hai. He comes out, he's not able to do very well. So even without that, he's still cleared. But for some reason, this information is not given by any of the AIs I know. And the rung thing that I spoke about earlier, कि अगर हम NIOS को एक लैडर माने तो नीचे तक आते आते बहुत सारी प्रोविजंस डाइल्यूट हो जाती हैं. दिस इज वन ऑफ देम. What I have experienced is that a whole lot of AIs themselves don't know about this. They do send in the award list. उसके बाद आपकी जो मार्क लिस्ट है उसको अवार्ड लिस्ट कहा जाता है. AI की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी में जिस दिन प्रैक्टिकल एग्जाम होगा उनका अपना एक इन्विजिलेटर होगा, एक इन्विजिलेटर बाहर से आएगा जो भी उन्होंने चूज किया होगा. So for all intents and purposes, the marking of the practical is done by the AI itself. When they send in the award list, उसमें उनको 5 hours of PCP का आप marks भेजने हैं. So please keep this in mind. Next time, if any of you is enrolled in the secondary or the senior secondary program, please go and demand your PCP program and also attend it very diligently. याद रखिए, चांसेस हैं कि आपका एग्जाम सेंटर आपका AI हो जाए. ज़रूरी नहीं हो, लेकिन हो सकता है आपका एग्जाम सेंटर आपका AI हो. अगर AI आपका एग्जाम सेंटर हुआ तो यही टीचर्स जो आपके प्रैक्टिकल्स के PCPs ले रहे हैं, यही उस समय इन्विजिलेटर्स भी होंगे. उस समय अगर आपका बच्चा किसी वर्ड का मतलब पूछना चाहता है, he needs a little help on any front, the chances are this teacher who has seen you sit through the PCPs will be more amenable towards him. They conduct the exams, both practical and theory. They evaluate the practical exams and the tutor marked assignments. I'm sure, I really hope all of you know tutor marked assignments just before your final exams. Every child, every student has to answer 5 questions. There is a booklet for it, which you get along with the books. हर subject में 5 questions होते हैं. There is choice to all these questions. They are based on different chapters of your syllabus, and the student has to complete those 5 questions and submit to the AI center, and the tutor marked assignment is evaluated by the center. Another tip, I always make sure that my students do the TMAs themselves, because it is a very beautiful, very structured preparation for the final exams. Don't do that, please start doing this. Okay, now we have chosen the AA. We have also chosen the AI or the AA. What we are left with is your curriculum transaction. I really don't have time. I've taken far more than I would have loved to have spent a lot of time here. But anyway, this is a very vast topic that actually needs a complete separate class. But let's go through it quickly. Take the required time to complete entry level. The same thing is going to come in the next slide also for secondary, senior secondary, and for ABE. जल्दी नहीं है, आपके पास 5 साल हैं. सिर्फ इसलिए कि आपको किसी को बताना है मेरे बेटे ने पिछले साल 5th किया था और इस साल 8th कर रहा है, वैसे भी आप 8th नहीं 6th ही बताओगे ना. Please take the required time to complete every level. One of the biggest problems I face with my parents is, मैम 5th हो गया, फटाफट 8th में एंट्री करा दो. Please let the child go through the 6th and 7th curriculums. Maybe not for the whole year, but maybe 3 months, 6 months, but let him go through all the curriculums. Take the required time. Study the blueprints and the previous question papers. Now, this also point that will come both places. ओबी में आपने अपने सेंटर से प्रीवियस ईयर का क्वेश्चन पेपर लिया है, आपको उनका क्वेश्चन पेपर सेट करने का तरीका पता लग जाएगा. Once you figured the blueprint of the question paper, you can start teaching at home accordingly. Take into account the weightage given to the different units. उनकी जो बुक्स होती हैं उनमें डिफरेंट वेटेज होता है. Make the learning functional, like I said earlier. At our school, the only two factors that we concentrate on while transacting the curriculum is these two: making the learning functional and comprehension. I want the child to start comprehending what others are saying. What he's reading, great. If he is able to do that, wonderful. But when he goes out into society, when he goes out to actually transact with the society, he goes to a shop, he should be able to comprehend. Comprehension is the most important factor here. Whether it is maths concepts, whether it is languages, he should be able to comprehend most importantly. To transact with the curriculum in this manner, use different methodologies to make the learning fun. I'm sure we all know this, but it's very easy to forget. The learning that is happening in a fun way, that is the only learning that will actually stay with him for the rest of his life. Methodologies that we use here are, in fact, for the OB level A, like for example, for EVS, we just have these three files. For example, a topic of level A is sense organs. There are no books. There are absolutely no books. The parents also are not given the books that we get from the A's. Sense organs will be taught only in a functional manner. And after he has been a student has been doing the sense organs and he has been doing the seasons and has been doing the names of animals, much later, while he's doing all this, all he'll be doing is, what is different, what comes next, please match. So he'll probably, somebody's hearing that is mapped to an ear. The only learning that is happening is on those files where we have laminated sheets and every child is simply matching them. And I have been able to transact the curriculum very beautifully with just this manner. Yes, the child has to be prepared for a written exam also. So some amount of, so a class or two, the entire year, but yes, January onwards, all they do is prepare for the exam. After that, the functional takes a back seat. But the entire year, at least for OBE, the entire curriculum is transacted in a functional manner with the emphasis being on comprehension. For 10th and 12th, of course, the first point is again, take the required time to complete every level. Study the marking scheme. आपको जो बुक्स मिल रही हैं, सपोज आपको इंग्लिश की बुक मिली है तो बहुत एक्सपेंसिव करिकुलम है, किताबें देख के आप इनिशियली बिल्कुल डर जाएंगे, बिल्कुल मत डरिए. There are two books for let's say for 10th secondary English level. They're fat English books with 28 chapters. At the end of the first book, you'll find the curriculum. At the end of the second book, you'll find the marking scheme, the blueprint, and the sample question paper. You don't even have to go looking for it anywhere. It is there in the books that are being sent to you. But yes, please download previous question papers. Very easily available. I'm going to be attaching a link also. इन क्वेश्चन पेपर्स में आपको देख के आपको पता लगेगा कि हर क्वेश्चन पेपर में पहले दो क्वेश्चंस कॉम्प्रिहेंशन के हैं. हर क्वेश्चन पेपर में क्वेश्चन नंबर 6 is a letter, is an essay. Question number 5 is a letter. They are so predictable. So studying the question papers will give you a very good idea of the pattern you should follow. And here, the next line, judicious selective learning. I'm going to give you just one example. I prepared 7 to 8, but let's stick to one. 10th standard का जो English का syllabus है, उसमें 28 chapters हैं. बहुत अच्छे chapters हैं जो मेरे ख्याल सबको करने चाहिए. Everybody should know what Jawaharlal Nehru's discovery letters to his daughter. Everybody should know the Sarojini Naidu's poem. Indian Weavers should be read by all students, but we will have to do modifications. So after studying the pattern, the question papers, what we realized with the very first batch was that unlike in Hindi, English had 70% of weightage was given to grammar and only 30% was being given to literature. Grammar बहुत easy है, बहुत well structured है, बहुत predictive है, लेकिन वो 30 मार्क्स, मैंने आपसे कहा 2 किताबें हैं, 28 चैप्टर्स. So to study, to score those 30 marks, you would have to study those 28 chapters. Anybody who's doing that is not doing his student a favor. अगर आप further study करेंगे तो उन 28 chapters में 6 poems हैं. Those 6 poems account for 10 marks out of those 30 marks. And of the 20 chapters left, 2 or 3 of them are, there are only 2 or 3 of them that questions from these chapters keep repeating again and again. So just by studying the question papers, you've brought your curriculum down from 28 chapters to, let's say, 12. And so if Hindi has the opposite. In Hindi, 70 marks are allotted to literature and 30 to curriculum, 30 to grammar. So there you would probably have to apply a different strategy. All I'm saying is strategize. These are special needs children. आपके हाथ में किताबें आ गई, पढ़ाना मत शुरू कर दीजिए. I would say your planning is the most critical factor. Of course, by you I mean the teachers and the parents both. But like we all know, for special needs children, for the parents and teachers to be on the same board is not just optimal, it is critical. So I hope I'm addressing both of you here, both of them here. I have listed some strategies here which summarize the chapters. Most of my students don't have their books, like I said. They don't have their books. All I hand them is a summary of the chapter that I've prepared. That will be an adapted version of the curriculum, not a modified version. None of the new words coming will be deleted. They will have all the new words. But it will basically be, I'll bring down each one of the chapters, I think, is at least 7 to 8 pages. I've brought down the 7 to 8 pages to, let's say, 15 to 20 sentences. Still doable. More importantly, my summary will have answers to all the in text as well as the terminal questions. So while the child is reading the summary, he's preparing himself for all the answers also. Study maps, graphic organizers, each one of the CRA method and role plays will be used for maths. I'm sorry, each of these methods would need at least an hour each. And I think I've way exceeded my time limit. Uh, but this is it. NIOS, the government of India has given you a beautiful tool, but you will have to use it judiciously. Because the biggest difference between NIOS, the open school system, the NIOS system, and CBSE or any other board is this board is student centric. Since from day one, when we started addressing our special needs children, this becomes a mantra for us: student centric, student centric. And here is a board that is actually student centric. It lets the child run, learn, get certification at his own pace through flexibility of age, through flexibility of time. Ma'am mentioned yesterday that the oldest person that has enrolled for their 10th, I think, is 89 years old. Imagine the flexibility. So it is a student-centric board. Please use it as such. The distortions to the NIS board being done by parents and teachers alike is actually sinful and is very painful to watch. All I can tell you is that the government has given us something very beautiful. I don't know this point. Okay, I'll get to it later. Fine. So that's where I'm going to end. I'm really sorry I over extended my time. This is a link. We're going to be attaching this. It is with the presentation. I'm going to be forwarding the presentation to you. These are the links to most of the important information on the website. We've basically decoded the website for you, but I'll again say something I've been saying since yesterday. The website is extremely user-friendly. Just invest some time. In fact, there's something called a prospectus on it. I really hope the link is here. If it isn't, I'll forward. Yes, the link is here. The admission prospectus. Spend just 2 hours going through this document. You will never need to ask any other question of anyone. Please invest just 2 hours, or maybe, I know if you're reading faster, then maybe it'll be even lesser. But please go through this. Thank you so much. Extremely sorry again. I think I'll let the other people take over. And
Fantastic presentation, Jaspreet. You answered lot many questions, but as I can see the chat box, parents still have questions specifically wanting to address their own case.
Okay,
So,
participant Ranjan is a friend, so he's biased, but still, I've tried to answer as much as I could. Let's go on to the questions now. Ranjan, you please take over.
so
Over.
a simple question
Actually,
repeatedly being
Ranjan,
asked. Acha,
if I can button at this point of time,
Ma'am, please,
uh,
please, please, please.
yeah, excellent presentation, Jaspreet,
Sure,
and
I will.
very comprehensive. But a quick rejoinder to a few of the points that you had raised. Okay, the
Yes.
first one is you mentioned that they can take two languages at the OB level. Okay, what I would say is that one language is compulsory. They can take one additional language, but very recently we have made an amendment in the OBE process, and we have allowed learners to take a maximum of two additional languages if they want. Now, this was a case in point, particularly from Delhi NCR, where the children, if they want to be mainstreamed and they want to go into the formal schools, they are required to have Hindi and English, which was fine. They were doing it. But then a request came from the madrasas in and around Delhi. They said, हमको उर्दू भी पढ़ानी है. उर्दू तो वो पढ़ रहे हैं. अब आप कहते हो ओबीवी में हमको हिंदी और इंग्लिश तो स्कूल में ले जाने के लिए चाहिए, लेकिन उर्दू का हम क्या करें? So then catering to that requirement of children from the madrasas, we said, okay, you can take two additional languages. So now at the OBE level, they can take a maximum of three languages. One compulsory, the other two is optional. If they want, they can do it, but the provision is there. Okay.
Wonderful.
Second one is at the OBE level, we talk of pre-vocational courses only. We do not call them vocational courses, a technicality, okay? But pre-vocational course, very important, essential component at each stage, A, B, and C. That is necessary. Another thing I want to, emphasize with the parents over here is that when they are doing the registration, at whatever level, whether it is OBE, secondary, senior secondary, or for the vocational education courses. You mentioned that there is a two-stage verification. One is through email and one is through the mobile phone. Now, what happens is that when they are doing the registration, they will create some email ID and then forget it. बाद में परेशान होते हैं कि हम कैसे इसको एक्सेस करें, SDMIs में हम नहीं जा सकते हैं, हमको इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं मिल रही है, या मोबाइल नंबर उनका चेंज हो जाता है. फादर या मदर का मोबाइल नंबर डाला, उसने चेंज कर लिया, नाउ अगेन दे आर स्टक, because these two things are required for two-stage verification even later on. So you have to note it down, you have to remember कि मुझे मोबाइल नंबर नहीं बदलना है. अगर किसी वजह से बदल रहा है, get it updated on the student portal. It is very important. Do not forget that email ID आपने क्या create किया था और मोबाइल नंबर आपने क्या दिया था. Two things. After that, you also mentioned that the AAs for the OBE, they charge a certain amount of money, maybe exorbitant at some AAs, maybe reasonable at some AAs, जिसमें से 300, 500, 800 NIOS के पास आता है. But now, as you are doing the online admission, even for the OBE, this amount is what you pay when you are registering. So 300, 500, 800 only paid at the time of registration. If the AA is charging something additional for giving academic support, that is between the parents and the AA. There, NIOS doesn't come into it. Okay. You mentioned something about the certificate being issued by NIOS. The education of the children being taken care of by the AA, the education, the assessment, evaluation, everything, and certification by NIOS. Here I want to tell you that this is a joint certification. The certificate carries the name of the AA, which has helped the children, as well as NIOS. But because it is issued primarily by NIOS, it has a government validity. Okay. Another thing, I was reading the chat box which was active on the screen. The last date for the OBE admissions has been extended to 31st September. So if anyone wants to fill in the forms, it is still possible, they can do it now. Okay, I'm taking a lot of things, but just things I just noted down.
Ma'am, so the
You
questions are also coming to you only.
okay? You mentioned the practical examinations at AIs. Okay, प्रैक्टिकल आपने कहा एफए के लिए आप जाओ आपको 50% मार्क्स मिल जाते हैं राइट नाउ यू सेड it may the practical exam center may be at the AI may not be here I want to just clarify okay I also want to clarify कि practical exam center आपकी AI में ही होगा जो theory का exam center होता है that will not be at your AI we are very clear on this. The theory exam center will not be at your AI unless it is a special accredited institution for the education of the disadvantaged. SAIED. अगर SAIED है तो वो home exam center होगा नहीं तो theory का exam center हम separately set करते हैं where the students are informed on the hall ticket that this is where your theory exam center is. TMA, again, it has 6 questions. 5 questions are comprehension based, and the 6th one, compulsory in all subjects, is a project work.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it might be a survey, it might be something practical that the students have to do, and it will have inputs from many lessons. It will not be based on any one lesson. So that's a composite kind of a thing that we try to devise for the learners. एक project work हम उनको देते हैं. Concessions के बारे में मैं कहीं पढ़ रही थी अभी chat में आ रहा था that is there any special provision for ADHD? Have you got that right? Attention deficit.
Yes.
Okay. For those students, what I will say is that I will not list out, discuss here the separate provisions, but look at the prospectus that we have. Chapter 6 talks extensively and in detail about the provisions for the different kinds of disabilities that NIOS has in place. So look up the prospectus and you get the details over there. The last one point, Jaspreet, you mentioned, one of the ways of dealing with the learners is to give them a summary. Here I'll mention for the secondary level learners, we have done a beautiful summarization of the lessons in just 2 or 3 pages, not more than that. We've made it pictorial. We have done all kinds of, instructional designing. We've used on that. We've made it beautifully. So use that. Now, why I'm telling you this is that use the resources that are already there. We have done it for you. Don't reinvent the wheel all over again. So just minimize your efforts that you're putting in with your child and help us. Come back to us. Tell us your reactions. We will also, because when you do it for one child. When we at NIOS do it, we cater to a much larger audience. So help us to improve what we have as resources on the web. And I'm sure the larger community is going to benefit from it. So there was just quick off-the-cuff reactions to what you were speaking about. Thank you.
Something very, very important I need to point out.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, absolutely. This was very, very good.
Just 1 minute, Mama. One very important thing. Yeah. When parents come to me, the only thing I give them is links. That is very, very important. I gave this presentation because ma'am was in attendance, because she could validate or point out, what I did wrong. One of the biggest problems happening today is everybody seems to be a master of NIOS. The misinformation out there is far, far bigger a problem than lack of information. See, there's so many things she pointed out, and I'm so glad she corrected me. But otherwise, if I'm alone, I will only transfer links. I can advise on the basis, and that too, I do it because I've taken my daughter through the system. I will never say I'm the principal of this school here, so I'm telling you on authority, do this. So parents, whatever anybody might be telling you, including me, please go through the prospectus and learn for yourself. Very important. I'm done. I'm not going to interfere anymore.
There's one little bit that I want to ask you, Jaspreet, if you could talk a little bit about, child giving a self-attested certificate to join the secondary level.
Ma'am, why don't you do the honors?
Class 8.
It's a question for you, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am, please, you guys. Let's address all the questions.
Yeah. Yes, okay. Absolutely, ma'am.
See, we do not insist on any previous educational qualification for either the OBE levels A, B, or C, or the secondary level. So, if there is a candidate who comes to us and says that I have not been to any school at all, but I am functionally literate and I have educated myself by reading, I have no certificate to show, we say you're most welcome to join at any level that you feel you can join. So there's a self certificate, there's a prescribed text given. You'll again find that on the either admission form or the prospectus. So you just fill that in, sign it, and submit it. Often, what happens is that we have seen this problem come up with migrant people और पीपल हु आर वर्किंग नेपाल से आ गए हैं यहाँ पर पढ़ रहे हैं अब सर्टिफिकेट अगर है भी तो उनके गांव में है they cannot have access to it. So it's okay if you are able, you are satisfied that you can join this level and carry on your education, do it. So that is what the self certificate is all about. But at the senior secondary level, the certificate of having passed class 10 is mandatory. It is non-negotiable.
Right. Ma'am, then another question was that you specified yesterday about SAIED. Apart from the AA and the AI, there was the SAIED. So, if you could elaborate a little bit about that, so that because that caters specially to the special needs children, and if you could elaborate a little bit about that.
Okay. Now, this is a special category of study centers that we have catering to learners with additional needs or special needs. And this institute has to be recognized by the RCI. If it is recognized by as a institute by the RCI, they can apply for accreditation to NIOS, and they deal with the children with special needs. So they can apply for the secondary and the senior secondary as well as apply for the OBE courses. Now the advantage of the children with special needs being registered to the SAIED is that when it is time for examinations, we set the examination center for those children at their institute itself. So you may find SAIEDs which cater to only secondary or senior secondary or to both. But if you are looking for an SAIED at the OBE level, you will not find them. Only OBE level, we do not have any SAIED. So either it has to be in conjunction with the secondary, senior secondary SAIED or just an AA. That is something that we are looking at because right now we are in the process of revisiting our accreditation norms. And this was one of the concerns that I had raised, that why should the AAs not be categorized as SAID? We are yet to take a call on that, but soon we will. I will be taking back the concerns from this webinar that I have been receiving back to the table at my office, and we will be discussing those issues also.
That's a great thing, ma'am. This is what I wanted to hear, and you've just said the words which are like honey to my ears. So thank you so much for that. On that note, again, maybe to you, ma'am, or to Jaspreet, is how does a parent decide on that now is the time to put my child into the vocational? Because the pre-vocationals are coming in at OBE. And then at 10 and 12 level, what is the path for vocationals? That is something that as a parent I would like to know.
Okay, vocational courses, see, there are two kinds of vocational courses. One is those which we call the standalone vocational courses. Now, these are courses which have been made equivalent to either grade 10 or grade 12. So you'll find a list of these courses, about 13 or 16 of them for the senior secondary and a fewer of them for the secondary level. So the advantage is that if, I have a child who is inclined towards who has an aptitude towards a particular skill, and I find that skill among these standalone courses, so I will enroll my child for that particular skill or trade in an AVI and let the child study that and excel in that skill. And at the same time, study 4 academic subjects from an AI. Later on, what they can do is they can ask NIOS to combine the two certificates and give them a combined certificate, which we do. It's just a plain paper application, surrender of the individual certificates, and the child gets a combined certificate. But very often,
I
what
see.
happens is we find that there are many children, and we encourage this, going by the Prime Minister's view that we have to give a flip to vocationalization of education. So we are now encouraging students to enroll for the vocational education courses. These courses are again NSQF certified courses. National Skills Qualification Framework, NSQF,
Understood.
is the buzzword in the ministry nowadays. So uh, we have our courses which have been made on par with the NSQF, and these courses are there for the learners so that they can go on taking advanced courses in a particular trade and take it to the level that they want, basically aimed at making them self-employed or entrepreneurs if they want,
Right.
rather than wage
Right.
earners. We are not promoting wage earners. What happens is a question comes to me very often: is your course recognized by the government for employment purposes? No, our courses are not recognized. The vocational courses are not listed by the government for employment purposes. But for higher education purposes, yes, they are recognized. Basically, the objective is to get the learners or the students who are doing these courses to do something on their own rather than go in for wage employment again, go in for higher studies. That is not why we have the vocational courses in place. And there's the vocational courses, if you see, have a whole range of entry levels. So a student can be class 5 passed, do a course on embroidery, do a course on handicraft, do a course on bakery, could be 8th pass, could do a course on computers, could be 10th pass, could be 12th pass doing a diploma in medical imaging, radiography. So the whole, you have to
Okay.
go through the prospectus to see what out of the 103 courses that we have, what is it that interests you? What is it that the child is fit for? Is there an
Right.
aptitude? Is there an interest? And then
Yes.
narrow down and get the child enrolled in the vocational courses.
Correct. Correct. Ma'am, as I said, you have completely, washed away all the doubts that I could have possibly had. Wonderfully, wonderfully put together. Thank you so much. And then Jaspreet and whoever else
Okay, excellent.
Can we
needs
take
to.
questions from parents? There are raised hands.
Yes, Ranjan, please. So I think we
Okay.
have Kalavati Vasudevan.
Yeah.
Ma'am, could you please
Yeah.
unmute yourself and
Yeah.
answer?
I've unmuted you. Please ask your question.
Hello, Preeti, and hello, Sharda, ma'am. Such
Hi,
a
Papa.
initiative and such a wonderful presentation for both the days.
Thank you.
I mean, like, of course, I have already been through the process for my son for 10th and now for 12th. So anyway, I mean, it's quite, an eye opener from many angles. So my questions basically, relate to the examinations, the provisions for learners with disabilities during NIOS examinations. The first is, of course, already somebody had asked and you have partially answered my question, but still I would like to ask. There seems to be no categorization of ADHD children anywhere in the list of learners with disabilities. And perforce, we classify them as dyslexic, dysgraphic, dyscalculic, and blah, 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 so many, so on and so forth. And we do get several concessions as available for the rest of the children. But I can speak from my own experience. My son, he actually needs an adult prompter. He does not need a scribe or an amanuensis. Of course, we did provide him a scribe in 10th, but that was more out of compulsion rather than a provision. So I would request that how do we go about requesting NIOS that why don't you consider providing them an adult prompter, and why do we need an adult prompter for an ADHD child? So only to make him concentrate on the task at hand.
Yes.
For him, he'll be more interested in somebody is saying something,
Yes.
speaking something somewhere, some sound is coming somewhere. He'll be distracted very easily and move away from the task.
Yes,
Of
ma'am.
course,
I agree with you.
pressure
I
of
agree
exam.
with you. That happens to my son a lot.
It's a big issue, ma'am. He does not need a scribe. He's able to manage writing and everything. I mean, and giving him a scribe makes him dependent. And he thinks, "Ha, wo to likh hi lega."
No,
You
scribe
know,
is not needed.
Kala,
uh,
one thing, you have explored this. In fact, lovely, Kala, this is a good point to actually, what is the job of the caregiver? You're given a scribe or a caregiver. So what does a caregiver do? You
I
have
mean, there is no. I
papers.
mean, like I took a permission for caregiver, but I was requested to sit outside, so I had nothing to do about it.
No,
Ma'am,
you can sit
basically, I think
inside.
what she's saying is that the provisions are there. Maybe this is something I brought to you earlier also, ma'am. Maybe this is something that you
Yeah,
should.
no, no. I think the provisions about caregiver. I mean, like I think it says only that only in case of requirement need they can go inside or something like that.
Only for cerebral palsy or
In
disturbance.
specific cases, near relatives, caregiver, or concerned teacher may be present in the examination hall only for the purpose of motivation and support to the candidate. Prior permission should be obtained. So, since we gave him a scribe,
Yes.
the question of caregiver they did not accept. Like either we could have, I don't know, like I mean, like it's very nebulous. We can't understand this. I request that this be made more clear and as in the case of CBSC for autistic children, ADHD children also be given the choice of having an adult prompter instead of a scribe. Similarly, there is a connected point here. Under CBC, an adult prompter is allowed for children under ASD, whereas there is no such provision in NIOS. Can NIOS please consider introducing this provision for ASD children?
You can
Yes, ma'am.
definitely do that. What I would request you to do is to at least write into NIOS saying that this is a point of concern, and there are many children out there who need that, and this is how you can do it. So, as a first step, I would say instead of just stumbling around and trying to find your way out, approach the authorities, tell them that this is the problem, because although we try to get together the people from many disability sectors, maybe this is something that we have not been able to do it. Okay. So I would request you at least write into us. You can find the email IDs of the chairman, of the director academic, of the director student support services. It's all there on the net. Do drop in a line, and I will be taking this back to our table as well.
Thank
I've
you.
noted it.
Nice. I have two more questions. Can I please ask?
Let the other
Oh.
members ask first.
Okay.
Ramaya Balan, please ask your question.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, my question is, say I have a son who just turned 13 and we have decided to enroll him in the OBEC level, but his math level is very low. It's probably in the 5th grade level. He has completed his mainstream school till 6th grade, and we pulled him out because of lot of learning issues, social issues. He is actually under the spectrum. So my question here is, when I looked up into the curriculum pattern for the OBEC level, it says the 8th grade level. So how will I be able to teach him the 8th level of maths when his level of math is very down? So what choice do I have here? Can I go with a curriculum which is very low in math and choose other subjects which is as good as the 8th level? How do I choose it? Can you help me here?
Okay, ma'am, see, as I said, the admission for all courses once taken in NIOS is valid for 5 years. Okay, so you might consider taking your child from class 5 maths to class 6 maths to class 7 and then to class 8. Okay, take him through his phases, let him take his time. Do not be in a hurry to get him to clear class 8 or level C in 1 year. If he is a child who needs time, NIOS is here to give him time. No other school is giving him time. It is only NIOS which is giving him time, allowing him the liberty to study till he has mastered it. So if he can do English and social science and science in one go, let him do it. But if he needs time in any other subject, let him take his time. He has the time. 5 years are there. So let him build up his skill.
But then he has to sit for his next NIOS 10th level too, right?
But why are you in a hurry? Why are you in a hurry? As I said, if he takes 2 years to do level C or 3, what is wrong?
Okay.
There's nothing wrong, because at 10th level also, as I said, the minimum age is 14 years. There is no maximum age. He can join at 16, he can join at 18, but let him be comfortable.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Ramya, to add to your issue, please understand the purpose of NIOS is education, not certification. So parents might be looking, I get the certification, but without education, having a certification is of no use. So what she's saying is 5 years time is given to complete the subject. Let the child learn on their pace. That's the whole purpose of NIOS.
Okay, sir.
Very true,
Thank
sir.
you.
Very true.
Next parent, Suju, please ask your question.
Ranjan, here I'll just put in a small word. I was just today morning going through the NIOS, the students, the ex-students and their descriptions. And it was so wonderful to note that there is a person who has done NIOS is now appearing for his MD exams. He's a doctor. There is someone who is preparing for his joint entrance exams. There is a lady who is appearing for her exam to become get a higher post as a police constable. I mean, it was so interesting to read through all that. So I would encourage parents here to go through all those descriptions of what each person has after an iOS managed to achieve. And of course, I saw a couple of them studying in foreign universities as well. So that's also there because there are a couple of parents asking about that. So that's one little two bit I thought I should add in.
Next parent, Suju, please ask your question.
Hello, my question is to Sandhya ma'am actually. So ma'am, this is regarding the SAID. You have already told that they need opening of SAID need RCI registration, so that is sorted. But I was going through the given rules and regulations for accreditation of AA. So I have few questions in that. Like you have told yesterday that minimum of 10 students is fine to open and AA. So is that 10 students is including all the 3 levels?
No, I'm sorry. I think I was misunderstood on that point. Yes, I saw your question earlier also.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, what I said was that even the AAs have 3 categories: category A, B, and C. Category C is where the AA is allowed to register a maximum of 150 students. These 150 students can be from either or all the levels A, B, and C. Okay. Now, what I was talking of, minimum of 10 students, that was for the secondary and the senior secondary AIs, where we have to form a batch of students, minimum 10, to give them a PCP class. If there are less than 10 students registered for a particular subject, let's supposing it's in senior secondary, the subject is mass communication. There are very few takers for this subject. So if there are less than 10 students in a particular AI who have opted for mass communication, it will be difficult for the AI to form the batch for the PCP. So that is what I meant, a minimum of 10 students. But generally we expect any institution working with us to have at least 50 students on their rolls. Otherwise, setting up an AA or an AI for 10 students is meaningless, considering the amount of paperwork one has to get through. Because remember, we are a government organization, and with any government organization, there is a certain amount of paperwork to be taken care of.
One more thing I wanted to know, like for opening A, you have said 50 students are necessary. So like ma'am, we are dealing with special kids mostly, but we don't have RCI registration. So we can't get an SAID center, as you told. So if I want to be an A and all my kids are special needs, so the examination centers and everything I was reading, it has to be a separate center, but in SAID it is the same center. So is there any consideration given to A where all the examinees or most of the examinees are special needs? Is there any consideration that the same examination center will be there and they can appear at the same place because of the similarity.
It's an unfounded fear or concern, because for the AAs, the examination center is the same center. They don't have to go out anywhere else.
Okay, okay, okay.
The theory examination centers are set separately only for the secondary and the senior secondary levels. For the AAs, the center which is educating and teaching the children is the examination center also. It
Okay.
is not different.
One last question, like the assignment projects, something we have mentioned regarding the OBE on page 11. So, are those assignment projects are necessary for special needs kids also who are registered to A?
That's part of the learning package.
Okay,
So every child has to do that.
okay,
I'm sorry,
okay,
we
ma'am.
cannot make exception for the special needs children. They can take longer. That is the only concession we can. But they would have to do those activities
Uh,
also.
and ma'am, my
Okay.
last question will be
Please, may I request you, please? It's
sir,
not
OBE adults actually.
Please
This is a,
understand, there are
okay,
other
fine,
parents
fine, sir.
asking, waiting. You
Fine,
may
sir.
raise
Thank
your
you.
hand once again. I will
Okay,
take
sure.
up the question.
Sure, sir.
Aruna,
Sure.
please.
Thank you.
Aruna, please ask your question.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, my question is my daughter is under spectrum and now she's 6 years old. So we are sending to an integrated setup, but I doubt whether she will be able to pick up all the subjects because education nowadays has become too much strenuous for them. Because I just wanted to know whether I can send her to a regular school, but I apply for this OBE program when she reaches that level, like proficiency. If she reaches to that level, can I apply for NIOS along with a regular school? Because I'm just sending to a regular school as of now for a structure and socialization part.
Why do you want to doubly load your child? I am unable to understand. She
Actually,
goes to a regular school and you want to put her through OBE also. Please
uh,
select one. Think of your child.
Ma'am, could I add to this?
Please.
Aruna ji, आपको presentation I will getting the presentation. The case study B that I took
yeah.
was exactly what you're describing, and I'm extremely sorry, but more than the child, I was describing the parents. This child came to us at 9. We'll never be able to put him through the senior secondary, because his parents had wasted the first 5 years, first 7 years. So please think about it. Please look at this case study again. I think as a senior parent, I can tell you, I think currently you're on the cusp of making a mistake. Please reconsider. Ranjan, could we get the next question, please?
Yeah. The next question, Rudra, please unmute yourself. Rudra Rao. Yeah, please ask your question.
Yes. Thank you so much for the webinar. It was a live opener. My question is that yesterday I tried to look, but it was not showing on the thing. So is there no AA for Bangalore? Is what is my query about? Because I tried like a couple of times. I tried putting the state and the district, and still there was no AA that was showing up.
So maybe there isn't. Maybe you will have to get together, motivate some institution to apply to be the AA from Bangalore.
Yesterday, this lady who had sent me what I just mentioned in the presentation, she sent me a screenshot where, one of the A's was not showing signs. And that screenshot was from Bangalore. So that screenshot had 4 A's on the or maybe.
Jaspreet, are you sure that was an AA or AI?
Both of them, ma'am. By chance, when she was trying to, she must have taken a bigger screenshot. So both of them were showing. So maybe we can look into it.
Okay. Okay, I'll look into that.
Okay. Next question, Kalavati. Please ask your question. One question, one parent. You may raise your question. Raise the next question next time. Yeah.
There is a provision according to provision 8.22a in the provision for examinations. According to 8.22a 2, the amanuensis may be a student of any age or class. The next provision goes on to say that the amanuensis should not be from the same subject. And if he is from the same subject, then it should be one class lower. So, I mean, like, we are not able to really understand. Like, suppose, for example, my son has taken a subject Sanskrit. And say if I have some adult person, say of my age, who has not done Sanskrit, will he or she be permitted to sit in the examination with him?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that was quick, fast. Suju, ask your question.
Yeah, this is regarding the OB adult, like the kids who are above 14. Like my mate's son is studying from me for this OBE level A. So after yesterday's ma'am presentation, I went to the site and there was something like the pre-vocab is for the kids below 14th and the vocab is for kids above 14. So he comes under this category. So are the subjects same? And there are learning materials separate. It's mentioned in the website that there is separate learning material available on request. So with whom I can request these materials?
Let me clarify one thing. The OBE program is basically targeted at two uh, groups of clients that we have. One is the children of school going age between 6 to 14 years of age.
Yes.
Okay. The other group is for children who are beyond 14 years of age but have not been to school or have dropped out of school for whatever reason, or they are in difficult circumstances. It is for those.
Okay.
The program that they go through is the same. The provisions of OBE remain the same, whatever the age group, whether it's 25 or 15 or 8. They have to study the same subjects at each level, A, B, and C. The pre-vocational courses that are offered by the AA are for both the levels, for both the client groups, for children as well as for adults. The pre-vocational, see, you said pre something else. Pre-vocab. Okay, pre-vocab is a wrong term. It's pre-vocational course. So those could be like toy making or bakery or embroidery or any of the others that we have. It could be mushroom production. It could be vermicomposting.
It's
It
4
could be
o'clock.
cutting tailoring. So those are the pre-vocational courses that the AA selects for you. Okay, the other vocational courses that we have are very different. So under the OBE program, the students, whether they are from the 6 to 14 age group or the 15 plus age group, they cannot select the vocational courses.
Okay. SP, please ask your question.
Yeah, I have just a quick question. I missed the presentation yesterday. Is there any way I can get a recording of that?
Yes, it is available on Amrit Masonic Facebook page in the video section. It's available. Even today's presentation will be available, and yesterday's presentation will be. It's already available there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Kalavati, you have another one question. Please ask.
Actually, of course, I have a small doubt. There is one provision which regarding disability certificate. Of course, the provision states clearly, but there is always a lot of confusion when we visit the NIOS office with the certificate. It states that disability certificate issued by non-governmental organization practitioners registered with RCI, central government and state government of the respective states is allowed. I just wanted a confirmation, ma'am, because it always creates last time also it created a confusion for us. We just wanted to be sure that this is allowed.
This is information printed on our prospectus.
Yes, yes.
It cannot be more authentic than this.
Okay.
Ranjan,
Next question. Kirti Shah. Okay.
Just 1 second, please. Sandhya ma'am, we have already come to 4. Can we take it a little further?
Yeah, we can. Absolutely.
Sure. Thank
No
you.
issues.
Ranjan,
Thank
go
you.
on.
Kirti Shah, please ask your question.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening. Okay, I basically am a clinical psychologist and I run an organization in Mumbai where I'm catering 110 kids as of now. Okay, and I overheard as per the conversations, there are a lot of cities which doesn't have a AA center. If I am willing to put a AA center in these small cities where there are no centers as of now, for example, Indore or Bangalore, right? Would I have some sort of a help also coming from the NIOS team to get me the number of students that are actually required to, sort of get all the arrangements in place?
No, I'm sorry about that, ma'am. We would not be able to provide students coming to your center, but we can just fast track the process of granting you accreditation if you come to us with an application, because that is something that I have been advocating, that any agency dealing with special needs children which applies to become an AA should be fast tracked, and their application should move fast, and they should be given priority over the other applications that are coming in. So
Great,
on
ma'am.
that
Thank
count,
you.
we will not be able to, give students, but I'm sure with a little bit of advertising and word of mouth, you
It
will
will help.
get many students.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Samuel and Deepika, please ask your question.
Yeah, thank you,
Samuel
sir.
and Deepika. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, ma'am, I have a 7-year-old son on the autism spectrum, and we tried to put him into a normal school kind of setup, but because of his various behavioral issues, he has not been suiting in a closed room kind of a classroom environment. So we're kind of trying to do alternate therapies and all for him. But today, as Jaspreet ma'am was sharing that, even mental stimulation activities, pre-learning needs to happen side by side. We were actually of the impression we need to wait until a time where we can go back into school, but at this time we are not sure. So how important, if I plan to put him into OBA level A, which is the starting, can I just put him over? Because when I look at the curriculum of OEB on the NIOS website, there are some skills that I see which are probably not, he doesn't have them, like identification of alphabets and letters and numbers. He had all of these at a much early age when he was 3 or 4, but he has regressed a lot. So would you advise that I put him in and have him pick those up, or do I need to kind of introduce all those and then only put him into OBE level A? I'm kind of at a fix at that point.
Jaspreet, it's all yours.
Yes, ma'am. I'm just finishing my question. The fact that you mentioned that SAIED is not applicable at this point for AA, where probably there would be a more a flexible setup to manage a child with special needs with whatever issues that they have. Can I have any advice on this?
Jaspreet, please. This question is all yours.
Samuel, I don't think I got you very correctly, but let me recap. What you said is your son is 6. He had the 7, and he had the requisite skills at 3 when he started regressing, which is very characteristic of a child on a spectrum. You're saying, where is he right now? He goes to a mainstream school.
We tried to put him in a mainstream school, but it did not work out, madam.
So where is he right now?
He goes to a child development center. It's basically one-on-one therapies like occupational therapy, speech therapy.
You're already doing the pre-learning skills with him. If he's going to a rehab center, the pre-learning skills would already be happening. I really would advise that, yes, please enroll him in at level A, because then your rehab center would also have a set curriculum in their hand. See, as of now, what would be happening is, yes, he will need a big amount of sensory integration, which is probably what is happening at the OT center. But for the academics, they're probably simply doing whatever pre-learning skill, they must have made an IEP for him and they're going in a sequential manner. But the curriculum will ease. If you give them the curriculum of level A, it'll probably give them a better understanding. It's a more structured. The OB level A curriculum is very, very structured. So I would actually advise you to go in for it. And then give the curriculum to your rehab center.
Okay, ma'am. So go ahead and enroll your advice.
Right? I really think you should, yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Lata, please ask your next question.
Okay, if I want my daughter to do vocational, what does she has to do? She has clocked her 10th. I attended yesterday and I asked, ma'am had said that since her age is already high, so she can't enroll for the younger ones. So now if I want to make her do vocational, what am I supposed to do?
Just take a look at the courses that we have. I would suggest go for the short-term courses, see what interests her and what she will be able to manage to do. and get enrolled. And with vocational courses, what happens is you will have to find an AVI near you which is offering that vocation. So supposing it's a course on cutting and tailoring, right? But there is no AVI near where you live which is offering that course, because unlike the academic subjects, these are trade specific. You need the tools and equipments for that subject. You need qualified teachers who can teach that trade. So look for whatever AVI is available near you, what are the courses they are offering, and then what interests your child, and get her to start on some skill that she likes to do.
Okay, thank you. She is very poor in her maths. Okay, thank you. She's poor in her maths. So she has done 1 year computer. So can I proceed with that?
Of course
She
you
has
can.
done computer.
Yeah, you can
Computer,
get
but
her to do the higher, the advanced courses in computers, and see if she can take up some part-time job also based on the skills that she acquires. That will be a great moral booster for her.
but that's what I want to know. Is it provided in this NIOS? That's
Yes,
all. I
it
just need
is.
a center.
Yes, you
Okay,
need a
thank you,
center
ma'am.
which offers the course, ma'am.
Okay, thank you
On
so
that
much.
note, if you could, sorry, I've
Kamal.
butted in, but if you could just elaborate 2 words of what an AVI is,
It's an
for
accredited
ignorance like us.
It's an accredited vocational institute. It's a study center which offers vocational courses based on what kind of teachers they have, what kind of workshops they have, or labs they have. So, if there is no home science lab, there would be no course on bakery and confectionery or catering management. But if they have a workshop, if it's an ITI near you, you might have a course on welding or plumbing or any of those courses. So it all depends upon the kind of infrastructure that is available at the center. The study center is called the Accredited Vocational Institute, AVI.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Kamaljeet
much.
Kaur.
Again,
Ranjit,
Kamaljeet Kaur, please
Ranjit,
ask your question.
I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
With Kamaljeet ji and with Meghna ji, let's make these the 2 last questions.
Yeah, we have 4 questions left. 4 questions left. Let's
We
do
can't
it
take any
quick.
more
Yeah.
because we've already
Yeah.
imposed on Sandhya ma'am
Yes,
way too long.
it has been long time. We all are sitting at one place, so it's too tedious. Kamaljeet, please ask your.
Yes, ma'am, I'm a special educator with hearing impaired students, and my 15 students were registered in ये 2019-20 के लिए for secondary level. तो मैं जानना चाहती हूँ कि TMA हम ऑनलाइन सबमिट करा सकते हैं क्या?
अगर आपका स्टडी सेंटर है तो टीएमए के मार्क्स आपको ऑनलाइन ही अपलोड करने होंगे.
नहीं, मार्क्स ना, मैं आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट सेकेंडरी लेवल. जो हमारा स्टडी सेंटर में तो क्योंकि अभी वो खुले नहीं है मैम, तो हम टीएमए ऑनलाइन सबमिट करा सकते हैं? अभी बंद है ना सब स्टडी सेंटर्स.
नहीं, ऑनलाइन सबमिशन का भी कोई प्रोविजन नहीं है. आप डाक से अपने रीजनल सेंटर भेज सकते हैं, वहां पर उसका इवैल्यूएशन हो सकता है अगर स्टडी सेंटर अभी तक भी बंद है तो.
एंड सेकेंडली मैम, क्या हमारे बच्चे हेयरिंग इम्पेयर्ड हैं तो उनके ऊपर लैंग्वेज डिलेड बहुत होती है, तो उनका उतना आईक्यू लेवल होते हुए भी उनको बहुत हेल्प चाहिए होती है एग्जामिनेशन सेंटर में, तो क्या साइन लैंग्वेज इंटरप्रेटर एनआईएस की तरफ से हमें मिल सकता है फुल टाइम एग्जामिनेशन हॉल में? साइन लैंग्वेज इंटरप्रेटर
कंसेशंस देख लीजिए मैम. आई एम नॉट रियली श्योर कि फुल टाइम इंटरप्रेटर मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा, लेकिन अलाउ होता है सो लॉन्ग एज दैट इंटरप्रेटर इज नॉट फ्रॉम द सेम सब्जेक्ट. अगर वो टीचर है उसी सेंटर का तो सोशल साइंस अगर पढ़ा रहा है और सोशल साइंस का पेपर है तो अलाउड नहीं होगा. मैथ्स का जो टीचर है वो सोशल साइंस का इंटरप्रिटेशन कर सकता है, तो ये एक रिस्ट्रिक्शन होती है. बट सिंस यू आर डीलिंग विद द हियरिंग इम्पेयर्ड लर्नर्स, मैम, आई जस्ट वांट टू आस्क यू, हैव यू बीन लुकिंग एट द इंडियन साइन लैंग्वेज वीडियोस दैट वी हैव डेवलप्ड इन 7 सब्जेक्ट्स?
कॉन्टिन्यूली मैम, बिल्कुल. हम लोग बच्चों को अपना स्कूल में वही हमारा स्मार्ट क्लासरूम है, हमारा स्मार्ट क्लासरूम में हम बच्चों को हर चैप्टर का दिखाते हैं वीडियो, तो बच्चों को बहुत हेल्प मिल रही है उससे.
अभी दूरदर्शन पर हमारा लाइव प्रोग्राम भी आ रहा है इंडियन साइन लैंग्वेज में इन डिफरेंट सब्जेक्ट्स. डू लुक एट आवर वेबसाइट फॉर द शेड्यूल एंड डू लेट द लर्नर्स सी दोस लाइव प्रोग्राम्स आल्सो.
यस मैम. एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन सर, हमने महापात्रा सर को भी मेल किया था कि वही जो एवल्यूएशन के लिए भी कुछ गाइडलाइंस बनाई जाए, ताकि जो चेकर है वो इनका पेपर चेक कर रहा हो स्पेशल बच्चों का, तो उन्हें पता चले कि दीज आर नॉट द नॉर्मल किड्स, ये स्पेशल बच्चे हैं और इनके लिए भी कुछ लिमिटेशंस होती हैं, इनकी लैंग्वेज उस तरह से नहीं होती जैसे नॉर्मल बच्चों को, तो इस तरह से एवेल्यूएट ना किया जाए, इनका एवोल्यूशन के लिए कुछ अलग से गाइडलाइंस इनके लिए भी बनानी चाहिए.
Answered this yesterday.
Yeah.
Ma'am
No,
mentioned this yesterday.
Ma'am mentioned for OBE level, not for secondary. OBE level तक कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है क्योंकि सब कुछ इंटरनल होता है, सारा एग्जामिनेशन रिजल्ट
secondary as well, it's put in a separate envelope.
Yeah,
separate
I need
envelope.
for secondary level.
कमलजीत कौर जी, आपने कल शायद पता नहीं मेरा प्रेजेंटेशन देखा कि नहीं देखा, उसमें मैंने स्पेसिफिकली कहा था कि जो सेकेंडरी और सीनियर सेकेंडरी लेवल के स्पेशल नीड्स लर्नर्स होते हैं, उनकी जब आंसर कॉपीज पैक की जाती हैं एग्जामिनेशन सेंटर में, तो सेंटर सुपरिटेंडेंट इज डायरेक्टेड टू पैक देम इन सेपरेट एनवेलप्स, mark the disability of the learner on top of the envelope and then send it for evaluation. तो जो बात आप कह रही हैं वो NIOS ऑलरेडी कर रहा है. शायद एज द यूजर एट द एंड ऑफ द लाइन आप तक ये बात नहीं पहुंचती और शायद पहुंचेगी भी नहीं क्योंकि ये हमारी इंटरनल वर्किंग होती है, लेकिन दिस इज डेफिनेटली केप्ट इन माइंड एज अ नीड ऑफ आवर लर्नर्स.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Rekha Rao, please ask your question.
Yeah. So my question is very basic again. So it's about, so all the while we spoke about SEN children, right? So my question is, does NIOS give preference to these SEN children more than the normal kids? Is there something like that, or, very straightforward? I mean, can I enroll the normal children into the NIOS rather than putting them into regular schooling?
The simple answer is yes. If you watch the presentation, it is meant for anybody and everybody who does not fit into the school.
Yeah, my question was about preference. Like, is it something
it's
that
not
SEN
about preference.
Yeah,
it's not. Please understanding is very important.
Ma'am, you need
across
to
for 2 hours and watch the presentation, and yet you don't understand and still ask that question. I do not know what to say.
No, that is the clarification, right? Because we are
I'm
going
clarifying. As a parent, I'm clarifying who is absolutely new to NIOS. That
right.
Education जो स्कूल में नहीं पढ़ पा रहे किसी भी कारण से, whatever may be the reason, उनकी एज कुछ भी हो, आप 50 साल के हो गए तो भी आप NIOS में एनरोल कर सकते हैं. आप 80 साल के हो गए हैं और पढ़ना चाहते हैं तो भी पढ़ सकते हैं. Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Meghna Verma.
Ranjan ji, if I can just add on to this point, I love seeing the enthusiasm which you said कि कोई भी पढ़ सकता है, कभी भी पढ़ सकता है. I love that. Okay. एक चीज मैं बताना चाहूंगी कि अभी तक over 30 years of our existence on ground, what we have seen is that it has moved. The entire open schooling system has moved from being a system for those who had no choice to being a system of choice. Today, we have children who are coming out of formal schools, and let me tell you, they're coming out of prestigious formal schools where parents fight to get their children in. These children are kicking those schools, coming out and saying, उस स्कूल में जाना तो वेस्ट ऑफ टाइम है, मेरी लाइफ बर्बाद हो रही है स्कूल में जाने में, वहाँ कुछ नहीं पढ़ाते, कुछ नहीं करते हैं. मैं अपने आप पढ़ सकता हूँ और साथ में जो मेरा इंटरेस्ट है मैं उसको केटर कर सकता हूँ. So today NIOS is not for those who have no choice. It is for those who need a choice or looking for a choice, and every kind of student is coming to us. If you look at our superstars, Mary Com is there, Isha Deol is there. There are so many dancers and musicians, sports persons who have come to us. So it's please, अगर वो चाह रहा है आपका बेटा उसमें नहीं पढ़ना,
that's the thing that I wanted to hear from you. Thank you. And one more thing is, so now that we are enrolling the child into an AA, and I mean the OBE level, so my question was already answered in the chat box, saying that the child needs to visit the AA at least once in a month or once in a week or so, right? So may I know the purpose of visiting the AA once in a week or once in a month? I mean, is there anything that benefits?
Jaspreet ma'am explained it
very that in presentation
as to why.
Sorry, I mean just once in a month. Maybe I might have missed.
Rekha ji, let me answer. No, Rekha ji, I'll answer that. देखिए, it's not just for you to not just your child, but you also should go. Like I said,
Okay.
what will happen is that at OBE level, जो school पढ़ा रहा है, what the teachers are teaching, they've selected the books themselves. तो जो what they'll teach, they'll set the question paper only out of that. So
Okay.
right. So suppose there's like I gave an example of the first chapter of OB5 book, Neha's alarm clock.
Okay.
At the end of the chapter, there are 8 questions. But if the AA, while they're teaching, they're teaching just 2 questions to their class. Shouldn't you also be teaching 2 questions? Because eventually, in the end, these teachers who are teaching are going to be setting the question paper. OBE, so you should go to see how they're transacting the curriculum, and your
Okay.
child should go to acclimatize himself, to become familiar with the place, and
Okay.
to
Okay.
become familiar with the teachers.
Okay. Okay. Fine. 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 I got it now. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Meghna Verma, please unmute yourself and ask your question quickly.
मैम मेरा ये था कि मेरा एक बच्चा है 7 इयर्स का विद इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबिलिटीज। वो मतलब राइटिंग नहीं जानता है और वैसे बेसिक जो नॉलेज होती है अल्फ़ाबेट्स, फोनिक्स और ट्रांसपोर्ट एनिमल्स सब जानता है, तो मैं उसको ओबीसी लेवल में एए में करवा सकती हूँ एनयूएस के थ्रू?
मैम आपको थोड़ा सा और बताना पड़ेगा, आपको क्यों लगा नहीं किया जा सकता?
मैम क्योंकि उसकी राइटिंग नहीं है अभी।
दैट्स परफेक्टली फाइन मैम। आपको ओबी स्क्राइब का देता है, ऑप्शन देता है, आप उसको ओबी लेवल ए में कीजिए, इन द मीन टाइम कीप वर्किंग ऑन हिज राइटिंग। अगर आप सही अप्रोच से करेंगे तो हो सकता है 5th तक आते आते, लेकिन ओबी लेवल ए पे आप स्क्राइब ले लीजिए। स्क्राइब का मतलब मैम होता है राइटर। आपका बच्चा बोलेगा और कोई और लिखेगा उसके लिए।
मैम वो बोल भी नहीं सकता है, वो फ्लैश कार्ड्स या बुक्स में टच करके बताता है अभी।
आप ओबी
मैम उसकी आवाज भी नहीं है अभी, स्पीच नहीं है।
मैम देखिए, ओबी लेवल के जो क्वेश्चन पेपर्स होते हैं, जैसे जो एटलीस्ट हमारा ए है, वो वैसे ही बहुत मल्टीपल चॉइस होते हैं। आपको सिर्फ ज्वाइन करना होता है। अगर बोल नहीं पा रहा, लिख नहीं पा रहा, लेकिन अगर पहचान पा रहा है क्या लिखा हुआ है और उसको समझ पा रहा है, उतना काफी है।
तो मैम वो आता है उसको।
हाँ, तो फिर आपका जो भी मोस्टली क्वेश्चंस ओबी लेवल ए पे मल्टीपल चॉइस होते हैं, जहाँ पे आपको सिर्फ लाइनें खींचनी होती है, लिखना बहुत ज्यादा होता ही नहीं है। और आपने ए से जाके बात कीजिए, वो डेफिनेटली आपको अकोमोडेट करेंगे।
तो मैम दिल्ली में कैसे करना मुझे पता नहीं है। दिल्ली में मैं कहाँ करूँ? मैं नॉर्थ दिल्ली में रहती हूँ, यूनिवर्सिटी एरिया में।
आपको लिंक भेजा हुआ है प्रेजेंटेशन के लास्ट में, आप उसमें डालिए, वहां पे जाके अपने ए चूज कीजिए। आपको लिस्ट आ जाएगी, उनमें से जो आपके सबसे पास हो या जो आपको सबसे ज्यादा सूट करता हो उनको जाके ज्वाइन कीजिए। जो मैंने प्रेजेंटेशन दी है ना, उसकी लास्ट
हाँ जी मैम, मैंने सेव किया मैम, मैंने सेव किया।
लिंक है। ओके मैम, थैंक यू।
थैंक यू मैम।
Samuel and Deepika, please ask your question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. So for a child who's going to AA, OBE, how different is it from a regular school? I mean, the frequency, madam, because after knowing that SAIED option is not there for AA, and if the child is probably not having a special educator or for any reason he is unable to sit for the appointed number of hours over there, what is the frequency as compared to a normal school? And also, is there an option for homeschooling to do it on side by side and just register it?
The NIOS does not prescribe any set hours for which the children have to go to the AA. It is completely mutual between the parents of the child and the AA teachers. If say, as Jaspreet said, it is beneficial for the child to go to the center because the child becomes familiar with the teachers, with the surroundings, and then come examination time, there is no stress on the child, and the teachers also know the child. But as far as NIOS is concerned, the parents are free to homeschool their child if they so wish. I said it in my presentation yesterday also, that what NIOS says is that there is a list of competencies or the curricular guidelines that are put up on the website for each level. That has to be obtained by each child. Whether the child does it by going regularly every day, 4 hours, 5 hours to the AA, or once a month or once a week, or not at all, that just does not matter. What matters is, at the end of the day, the child should be able to sit for the exam and qualify. So it is entirely your choice. and it is between these AA and you as a parent as to what kind of arrangement is good for your child and beneficial for the child to go through the levels from A to B to C and so on.
Ranjan, I think we need to stop now.
Okay.
Yeah.
We actually have been sitting for long hours.